Right over there. We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, Jay? How was your weekend, man?
Weekend was on the scale of wholesome, super good. I didn't really do a whole lot of anything. Just went to the lake twice, spent some time with my fam,
Oh
stayed
yeah,
in.
how was meeting your nephew?
She's cute. Can't really touch her because she doesn't have her shots yet, but very cute from afar. It's like a petting, well, the opposite of a petting zoo, like a normal zoo. Yeah.
Which
You
behind
look at
glass
them, you're
windows,
like, huh?
glass windows and all that,
Yeah,
tiny
something like
cages,
that. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty
abuse.
dang good weekend. How was yours?
Yeah, I think I was somewhere on the other end of the spectrum, but you know,
Perfect.
pay our dues to the beer god. Um,
Well, this week on the Sassy Sesh, I got to pick the topic. My
yes, you did.
topic was you guys would think that it's always going to be a goofy topic. This one's serious. Um, the topic is, but how different countries and just different governments all around the world are dealing with data privacy with AI blowing up. So, when I presented this to you, Brendan, what were your original thoughts? Curious.
Um, my original thought was that sounds like a lot of research to have a competent, educated take on this. Like, which countries are we talking about? There's a lot of countries in the world. What kind of data privacy do we care about? And then, so that was my first thought. My second thought was Jason always shows up blind and dumb and uneducated to these conversations and then just goes off of me. So I'm gonna, vicariously live through you on this one and go on the other end and say I did no research, probably like our audience did. And I'll just be the
Nice.
voice of the people for this one.
Perfect. Well, you better be funny, because at least that's what I bring to the table here.
Oh fuck. All right, well, maybe I should maybe I should start doing research.
All right. Well, the reason I wanted to kind of hop into the topic is one, I love to travel. Two, I think it's really interesting just how different governments interact overall, like especially living in China. I spent 6 months there, and data privacy is just completely different. Your right to certain information is obviously blocked, and wanted to see how not only the US and China differed and how they reacted to data privacy with AI, but also like bringing some other countries who have also taken somewhat of a stance and see kind of where those are going and
Yeah.
what path we're on here.
I guess, are you trying to go macro or micro on this? Like, do you have like a very specific type of data privacy that you want to like go over, like a situational case, or just like the more like philosophical conversation of like all data and like our interaction with it and what we get to experience with it and how much of our, I guess, from the consumer side or the business side? Which one are you referring to?
Well, both actually. But overall, the consumer side is going to affect the business side. So that's more of the stance I'm taking is like how are governments reacting to consumer privacy with OpenAI?
It's
And
kind of,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just had like a thought. It's kind of unique and maybe it tease you up for your point, but like it's like a clean slate. Like Facebook and everything maybe did it wrong for a long time, and now they're dealing with like the ramifications of like not taking good control over that situation. And like we all know about targeted ads or like you talk in your phone and you get the retargeting, which I personally am a huge fan of. But
Yeah.
this AI tech, like it's to start at like a fresh base. So it's interesting to see like what learnings we took from the past and how we're going to implement it to a new space and field.
It is also interesting because Google and Facebook, I mean, Google's still crushing it because they have Bard, but Facebook and Google have owned the majority of privacy data for the past, 5, 10 years. So now some other people are hopping in. But that's really interesting. I mean, to tee us off, really what we figured out is the US is hasn't really fully taken a stance. So at a federal level, there's talks of it, but the only people who have taken stances are at state levels. So 7 states have actually implemented privacy laws and taken a stance on that when it comes to AI. But federally, we really haven't done anything. So we're in this standstill where businesses haven't really fully been affected by it. The liability is kind of up in the air of like who's liable when it comes to privacy data. Is it the original source? So is it OpenAI who's like liable for it, or is it Brendan Anklam who is now connected his API and is using the source from OpenAI?
Yeah, it's super. It kind of brings me back to that other podcast we did where we were talking about the AI therapy, right? Like
Yeah,
in certain situations where detrimental actions happen, like where's the smoking gun? Is it on
yeah,
like our
exactly.
use or is it on the company's use for building these tools? I, I like the idea. Like obviously, like, I think America should have a pretty like Wild West philosophy to it, so we can have innovation for a little bit and be like the top of the totem pole and just like break the
Yeah,
system. I think you have to break things before you can have accuracy with them. But I'm interested how like more like communist countries will supply with this because it's always like very controlled media. And
yeah.
like how do you control a system like that from the ground up? Like I'm sure the search results, I don't even know if, do you know if any of like China, you obviously have more political acumen than I do. Like do they have tools that are like chat based and generative AI yet?
Yeah, so they do, but what's really interesting about it is when it comes to OpenAI and all these tools is what they're doing is they're scraping the internet and they're using the information that they gather to answer whatever you ask it and help put that together. When it comes to communist countries like China, they do have a OpenAI, they have it like all these different sources, but it's very controlled when it comes to the input that can be put into all of these AI sources. So like it's prevented not only like small scale deep fake stuff illegal right off the bat. Guy got arrested. Any sort of stuff that goes against the government's wants, needs, whether it be to overthrow power or just be fake information, arrested right off the bat. Um, and when it comes to training the bots themselves,
Yeah.
they have to go through the government before they can go live in China. So the government has full control. And this is what I think is the most interesting portion of this is the liability in the US, as mentioned, it's kind of up in the air. Who's liable? In China, because they're communists, they can move so much faster. Like this is 7 months ago that this was even conversation was even started about AI.
Sure.
So the US is in that bobble phase. We're messing around, like we're seeing like what outweighs what. Privacy versus obviously we're capitalist economy. So it takes a lot of that back and forth and eventually we'll come to terms. China took a hard stance right off the bat, and their liability is completely on the businesses, not the source. So let's say you, as Brendan, are trying to look into a company, anything that your company spits out, or any sort, like let's say that you're, a text to image. If you put an image that goes against the Chinese Communist Party, you're liable for that, not OpenAI, not any source that it comes from. So what it's doing is opposite of what we would want here in the US and why we're letting things fly, is it's stopping companies from expanding into this AI.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And you said, do you think they have a head start because I did that?
No, but I think when it comes to data privacy, they're able to implement things so much faster that they didn't have this limbo back and forth between capitalism and regulation.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I feel like entrepreneurs lead to innovation more than like a government does, though. Like, I feel like the 17-year-old kid who's a genius who gets his hand on AI and he's on summer break and he's going to spin up something ridiculous is going to go a lot faster than having to be like, hey, US, is this okay? Can I build this? Hey, is this like okay?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where like the craziest and like most innovative solutions come from, is like that sole three teenagers on a summer
Yeah.
break who don't want to go out and party or anything. They just want to sit in a room and play with this new tech. And it may be lead to something, I don't know. I don't think sinister is the right word, but I think the freedom of building is what's really going to be like cool. But the
I
privacy
think so
part's
too.
unique.
I think so too, but I think it's interesting to see what's going on. And also, data privacy wise, is all personal data. In the US here, we have it where like you have to get permission to take in any of the data, but after that point, they don't have to get permission for using it or selling it or anything like that. That's all in like the original contract. In China, you have to get permission every single time somebody else is using that data. So like Instagram, you're not going to have those targeted ads. Like that's completely different game there.
Yeah, it is unique because like I feel like the trust factor for a tool that's sponsored by the government though is much more there than like an AI tool that you just found on the website. Like I was just like role playing with
I
like an
see.
AI therapist tool, just like I
Yeah.
don't know, I just wanted to see like what the conversation was and how competitive it was and like if it gave anything valuable. And then at the end of it, I was like, kind of am starting to have a pretty private conversation with this random website I clicked on the internet, and I have no idea like what this company does or how it leverages this information at all. So I put like a note at the end. I was like, "Hey, just this was a simulation. This was a
You're
complete
gonna start getting
hypothetical."
hit up by all these real therapists for all these new like clinical trials and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I don't know what actually happens, but there was like, if it was in China, I'd be like, okay, I know this is credible. I know I'm not going to get abused as a end user here, and like I know it's sensitive. Like I still don't think I'd go trust like an AI agent with my credit card to go book a flight for me. Like I think like
Yeah,
that's where people want it to go, right? Is like booking agents are AI, but that like
yeah.
requires a lot of autonomy to be like, hey, here's my credit card, go find me the cheapest flight and book it. But now, like I don't trust these systems with my bank account yet, where I probably would if it
That's
was
the
like
first thing, man.
regulated pretty heavy, you know?
There's benefits and there's downfalls. Different stance altogether is Europe, specifically Italy, took a strong stance. Like right when OpenAI came there,
I
they
saw
just
that.
banned it. Just banned it. And they were like, until you comply with us, you don't get to hit our market. Granted,
Dude,
Italy's market is mostly very aged humans. They have a very old demographic. So they're probably not missing, OpenAI is probably not missing out on a whole lot, but
yeah.
still.
What if you had to make like an early bet, what country is gonna have the most sophisticated models, you
I mean,
think?
the US is going to have the most sophisticated models because we're not setting any sort of regulations. I think by the time that there are any regulations, there's going to be so much money in this that there's going to be lobbyists and loopholes. And I think
Yeah,
that there's no doubt.
it's gonna be interesting when the cat's just like completely out of the bag though, and we let this build for like 2 years, and we're like, okay, now it's time to put some handcuffs on this. Like, can you put Pandora's box back like together, or is it just gonna be too much of like a feeding zone that's gonna be like, oh fuck, this
Like,
monster's
how do we
untamed?
go back from here? Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly.
that. I feel like that's kind of probably the question right now. The government's like, yeah, we can let this fly, like while we're chatting through like with the best options here, but like people are coming really relying on this. Um, so I don't know. But another funny point, completely not completely separate, but not based too much on this, is when it comes to AI in China. While I was doing research, not only do they have all the regulations on like the information it can take in, there's a ton of regulations on actually like preventing people from becoming addicted to it. Like it's very weird. There's I don't know if it's like timing wise, like how long you can talk to a chatbot, but like if they sense that like you're becoming friends and like getting a personal relationship with that chatbot, it'll turn it off. It's like it doesn't
Really,
want you to become reliant on that source of like friendship or interaction.
dude. I feel like I actually had one of those like eureka moments last week. So I have like a personal blog where I just like anonymously post stuff, like
Mm.
commentaries or opinions, and like I was trying to do like personal writings every day. And then I found myself getting really reliant on the fact that like I could just give it a topic and make sure I'm putting something out every single day. I was like, I'm not really learning the craft at all. Or I was just like, getting
Yeah.
completely like, I can't even think of the word right now, but dejected by the fact that like its writing was always just better than mine. Like I was like, I would just put up like an average piece of writing and it would turn into a prophetic piece of like intense prose and vernacular. And I was like, fuck, like
Yeah.
I'm feeling just like a loser all the time because this bot is way better, more efficient than me. I'm not
And
really
it takes
learning anything
me
here.
so much more effort to get 60% as good as this bot's doing in 10 seconds.
Yeah, like there's something to a creative craft where like you had to like write a first draft, suck, go find like your own synonyms, figure out like what words, what fluff to make. And that's like completely out of my writing process now. And I was like, I'm becoming like pretty like if I had to write a cover letter and I couldn't use AI, like now I'd be like, fuck, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
I'm completely involved.
it's nice. It's super nice. Like mine for like, especially for like paraphrasing or even like grammar corrections. I know there's been like grammar tools for a long time, but like not as good as some of the ones I see out there. Like now it's not only on my email, it's not only on specific sources, it's like any part of the internet that I make a spelling error, it's being corrected. Sick.
Dude, it was like we had 5 episodes without descriptions, and I just put it into Chat GPT. I was like, "Hey, here's the tone I want. Here's our writing style. Here's our podcast, and here's the relevant key points. Like, can you write like a 300-word synopsis on this?" Boom,
Yeah.
did it. I was like, "Dude, if I had to do this myself, one, it wouldn't be as good. Two, it would have taken fucking 4 hours,
Yeah.
and three, it wouldn't have this like universal tone across them." So, I'm definitely in the
Be
stage
with,
where like if
yeah.
ChatGPT just like turned off tomorrow, I'd already be kind of like, "Fuck, like that was really necessary to my life."
It'd be weird to know it was there. Like before, like all that effort is just like, yeah, you know nothing, you don't know anything else.
Yeah.
But now you know like what could be on the other side. So if they restrict it, it's gonna be a wake up call for sure.
Dude, it's like you're in a very committed relationship and she's like, I'm moving to Asia and I don't want to, and you're like, well, that was sucks.
I would say, come on, baby, I'm visiting. I love Asia.
I don't
Like,
know.
let me come with you. All right.
That's super
Well,
interesting though, man.
you had talked about having a little who could create the best AI generated art, and then we also have tool talk, so you can choose which one you want to go first.
Did you do the AI generated art thing?
I did it, and you're just gonna love the path. It shows all my different images, and you're gonna love just the mental path that I went on here. This is
Dude,
like
I didn't
my
do it.
first. You came up with this idea. All right, I will run us through my general path of thought here and show you the results that I got.
Yeah, and for the audience listening, next week's episode or the next time we do a SaaSySesh, we're gonna have a 1v1 competition who can come up with the best art. So I guess I'm getting inside information, and you probably have a head start because you just spent a week creating art. So
I
let's see
just
the
spent about 10 minutes creating art, and I think you're going to see that from my photos here. A lot of learnings. So I started off and I was thinking, wow, I've been trying out a couple different hairstyles here. Why don't I let this give me a side by side of what I could look like? And I was like, you can see what you inputted and you can see what it outputted. That's what I think you're gonna get some enjoyment out of. But
dude.
this is I want a picture of a young white boy with the middle part next to the same boy with 10 other haircuts. And this is what I put it. Just a white, blue-eyed, super country club looking lad.
Why'd
This
you
kid's
say
kind of a
young
stud.
white boy?
I don't know why I said young white boy. I'm pretty drained today. But yeah, that was my first thought. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not gonna didn't do that well on this one. And then I thought to myself, a picture of 220. I actually came to the realization, like, why did I say boy? I was like, I want a picture of two 25-year-olds. So I was like, I want a picture of two 25-year-old podcasters on the couch. And this is what it came up with. Look at these guys. Let me see if it'll show me zooming in on, look at these guys. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is horrible. This guy's literally. That's just bad. That's just bad art. But for next week, now I know I'm going to try out a different app every single week.
Yeah, I mean, I would have absolutely smoked you because I don't know why you're on Star AI. No
Because I was
offense to
looking
Star
up
AI,
all the,
but
like, I kind of wanted to try some of the off ball ones. But now this is when we really get into it, Brendan. I thought to myself, okay, I've gone with my haircuts, I've gone with the podcast. None of this has worked. Let's go with something really basic. Like me, I want a picture of me and a beautiful woman riding a horse off into the sunset. And then I realized I didn't say that I'm a male. It has no idea what I am. So I'm like, these are two females. Also, just not real faces. Horrible, horrible work here. Oh, whoa. Now we're super. Then I realized I wanted it to be a male. But this male's faced the other way. It's like, I don't even care about this one. And then I said I switched it from male to man. And now this woman's just way back here in the background. He's just riding away from this woman.
There's a story here, though.
It's honestly, if you don't zoom into the faces, they're gorgeous. But if you zoom into these faces, they're horrid.
This one tells like a story of heartbreak.
Dude, I just think about how muscular this horse is. Look at that thing. That thing's not only walking off, it's walking off with some style.
Nah,
Well,
dude. Next time you gotta use Dolly or like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion so we can have the industry leaders on this thing.
well, look at me testing out some other ones, proving the fact that you do need to use the leaders because the other ones are not as developed.
Holy hell, dude. I can't believe you started with Young White Boy.
I was like trying to find like the one perfect photo. I'm like, dude, he's just gonna love this train of thought that's going through here. And
You're gonna be like you're gonna be like on a list or something, man.
Whoa. All right. Today, are you
Toy
taking a
talk.
completely opposite stance of what I like? You were already on coming into oblivious with the article. Are you also coming in with productivity on these tools that you came, or are these just super dumb?
They're really cool. They're not like business related though. But did you know how like Always Sunny, each episode is like a whole new story. But if you
Yeah.
look at like the entire series zoomed out, there's like a narrative across them.
Yeah.
I think for us, we've had like AI dating as like something that's been a part of every single episode to some extent. Like before, it was like AI dating app to give you a better Tinder profile, and then it was like an AI dating app to give you like better conversation skills with like real people, and then we're like, oh, what happens if you date in the VR space with like a human, right? Well, I think we hit the crescendo because my first tool here, man,
Let's
is
go.
just AI dating. These are all potential candidates for Brennan Anklam to build a relationship with an AI tool.
Let's give a little bit of info for our audience on which one of these women is mostly your type. I'm going to take a guess, and you can give the answer. My guess here is Chloe.
Certainly, Chloe. I mean, I'm not really into the travel blogger, but physique-wise, Chloe's
Gorgeous.
super animal. I think
You say she's super animal?
I did, but that wasn't the word that was supposed to come out of my mouth.
All right, well, give me the rundown on this tool.
Well, let's see what happens. I can't believe I'm doing this on my work laptop. Hopefully, nothing sexual happens here. Oh, it's a voice message.
You actually
I
have
don't know.
voice combos with this thing? Is this 19 minutes that they just sent you?
I don't know what's
Say,
gonna
hey,
happen.
how are you? Wow, this is interesting. I can't believe it. Just you click into it. It doesn't even try and personalize. You click into it. 2 seconds later, you're getting a 19-minute message. Like, come
No,
on, Chloe, you're better than that.
that's the time zone. I
Oh.
don't know what this is, but I'm doing well, thank you. Damn, I'm getting dry ass responses from Chloe.
Whoa, what was
Sucks.
the message she sent?
She said, I'm doing well, thank
No,
you.
what was the audio message?
Hey, good to see you here. First of all, welcome on Cupid.
Whoa, I was just probably going through my headset, but
No, I heard that too. She's got a British accent. That's awesome.
beautiful voice.
Beautiful.
But yeah, man, this is the final stage of the evolution. I think, I could just completely decide to become a recluse,
This
sit at
is
home,
exactly what China would cut off, Brendan.
and date Chloe.
Yeah, this is exactly what China would cut off. They'd say, nope, he's becoming too attached. It's going to bring down our birth rate. If he becomes too attached to this thing, we must cut it off.
Dude, I was watching this interview with OpenAI's like VP of growth, and they asked her, and they're like, would you ever date like an AI counterpart? And she was like, yeah, I think I could. Just because the relationship would be very honest. You didn't have to put on a front. You could just kind of entertain it when you want to entertain it. And I mean, personally, I'm not there yet, but I think that's really interesting that I bet in 10 years, people are going to have AI girlfriends and boyfriends. It's just going to be
that might be when we have to step in here as a country. It's all fun and games until nobody's leaving their houses. They got the VR headsets on and they're just have a girlfriend in this alternative reality.
Dude, just like an AI generated image of me and Chloe, put that on my Instagram. Be like, okay.
You break up with your girlfriend. She's like, whoa, you moved on so quick. And this girl's beautiful.
Would you consider that cheating?
No.
If your girlfriend was
I don't believe that these are real conversations. Like, there's nothing real about these conversations to me. Like, Chloe didn't choose me, I chose Chloe.
She was pretty fucking dry to me. Maybe you say, hey, how are you? And she's like, hey, beautiful.
Well, maybe then she chooses me. Maybe she's got a type and she knows it ain't you.
Damn, that sucks. You gotta be callous to real girls and fictional ones now. It sucks.
That does suck.
But I think that was fun. That's like the end of the narrative for now. I think we've hit every evolution of AI dating, and now we have counterparts.
Well, let me hit you with one that is productive in the world. I think what's unique about this tool, it's called Rewind AI. There's a lot of tools that summarize meetings. There's a lot of tools that help you search all of your company's documentation. What this does for guys like me who have bad memory is anything that's ever gone across your screen, anything you've ever seen in a meeting, you can go back. Are you seeing the screen?
No, not right now.
Let me get her going. You pretty much have a front row seat. You can go back and rewatch anything. Or let's say you had a sales call, and at the end of the sales call, you want to search like, what were next steps? Like, I have this all the time. If my call's not recorded, comes down like 3 days later, I'm like, got a note of this somewhere, but like, what are next steps on this call? Or what were they looking for, etc. Like, all of this can be searched not only from the meeting itself, but like any note you've ever had, whether it be a message or Slack or anything that came up on your screen. You can search back and see it. I think this is such a badass tool. It crushed it on Product Hunt. I think it's kind of creepy. You'd have to only have this on your work laptop, and it would make me very much more like conscious of what I'm looking up, because one, they store this somewhere, whether it be on their cloud or your cloud or how that works. But all this information is held forever. What are your thoughts?
This is unbelievable. So what, it's like based off a search engine where you kind of access the platform and just ask it a question, be like, hey, at my 9 a.m. call today, like, can you remind me what their goals were with the potential AppSumo partnership?
Can
Hi,
you
I'm
hear
Dan
this?
Stroker, the co-founder and CEO of Rewind.
Just listen to like
We're
30
building
seconds.
the
of
search
it.
engine
It's
for
nuts.
your life. With Rewind, you can find anything you've seen, said, or heard. Let's jump in. Once Rewind is installed, you can open it by hitting Command-Shift-Space. You can type in anything you've seen, said, or heard to search for it. And down below, you can scroll through time. This opens an entirely new dimension of computing, time. With Rewind, you can literally rewind time. Ever want to retrace your steps or go back to a slide in a meeting, or maybe go find something you might want to copy and paste from your past? Now you can. You can simply go back a few minutes, copy it, and you're done.
How nuts is that?
Dude, that's unbelievable. Especially like have 50 tabs open and I'll just be working, reading a blog article, reading a newsletter, watching a YouTube video, and I'll just won't remember any of those fucking sites that I went to.
Yeah.
Like having this just be like, all right, let me see what I actually accomplished today. I think that'd be kind of fun just to be like, okay, like I feel like I had a good day. And then you go back and you're just
you
literally
see
just
you've
hitting
had, yeah. You see you've
Didn't
had like
do anything.
2,000 tabs open.
Yeah, like I bet if my manager at AppSumo was able to get my account, she'd be like, you suck at your job, dude.
Well, you wouldn't suck if you had Rewind. And you know what sucks overall? Is that I reached out to Rewind. I found this tool today. And I reached out to them like a month ago. They just I even was like, hey man, as somebody who has a bad memory, this is a game changer. This is so cool. And they responded, just said not interested.
Really?
It's like, dude, I tried so hard.
Damn, the follow-up message could have been like, hey man, not sure if you remember my initial email I sent you. Feel free to rewind back to June 21st if you want to see what it looks like.
That would actually be hilarious. That would be awesome. All right, Brendan, your tool number 2. I only have 2 tools today, by the way.
Same. We kind of hung in that first conversation pretty long, but you want to stop sharing your screen. And by the way, in case anybody's looking for love out there, was Cupid AI was my first tool.
Nice.
I'm a really big fan of this tool. It's kind of relevant to us.
Yeah.
So this is called Fathom. It's essentially a podcast player discography, but you find relevant podcasts based on like intent instead of, I guess, just like going after the Lex Fridman podcast and seeing like, okay, which guest potentially had a good conversation? What are the benchmarks or chapters of it? What is the relevant highlight of this data? And then like playing devil advocate to like really dig in and search for it. You could just be like, what are SaaS go-to markets? And instead of searching for Google, you'd get audio curated entertainment. So it'd be a lot of podcasts that have this relevant content. It would show you relevant podcasts that actually talk through this. And then it'd give you clips where podcasts actually talked about this in the exact moment. And then you can just get that data or listen to the clip.
Because I think the rest, I think like the overall search engine is really cool, but most of the time you can find that on Google. But when it comes to the clips, that's where I think this is game changing. If I could just have just an hour of like 1 minute clips of talking about a certain concept and get everybody's perspective on it, like all these professionals in the space, I think that'd be extremely valuable.
Well, I like it because I love to go for like walks, and I always spend so much time being like, okay, what podcast I'm going to listen to make this walk as valuable as possible. And I'm like, okay, like right now in work, I'm trying to figure out how companies are entering new categories and building beachheads in those segments, right? And it's like I have to really manually search through a bunch of like SaaS doc podcasts to like, okay, this one could be relevant. This would just expedite the entire process. Be like, okay, relevant SaaS marketing tips to break into a new category. And then, okay, boom, this one has the content. I can see they talk about it here. Let's rock and roll. So
have you tried this?
To a certain extent, I think this tool needs a little bit of work and love and modernization. Like these results aren't super good.
Look at you coming in, playing my role, getting the early companies, giving them some love. Woo!
But I did submit the Sassy Boys to be on this. So if anybody has questions about AI dating, we're going to come up for sure.
Wait, so you have to submit to be on here. That's a contingency that's going to make this not have the mass it needs to grow.
Well, I think it has to be a little bit of like preloading the biggest podcasts, because there's no way Lex Friedman reached out to Fathom and was like, hey, can I please have my podcast on your unknown company? So
Yeah.
they must have pre-populated, or they have like an API that syncs to Spotify or something for the big ones. But for us, it just like, I was like, it's a cool way to build an audience in an underappreciated product so far, and like, you know,
Fair
have
enough.
authority there. But
I love it.
I like that. I like that use case. Like, oh, everything is just evolving to a search bar right now.
Sweet. I love this one, Brendan. Kind of works perfectly for where you're at right now. You are a skinny lad trying to get into the workout grind. You might not have all the workouts you need. You walk in there, you're like, whoa, what does this machine do? What am I doing here? I don't have a set workout. What this is going to do, it's called Gym Buddy AI, is you can choose exactly what you want to hit, what you like what workouts you like, exactly what you want to get out of the workout. It's going to create a custom gym routine for you. Let me show you here. This one's actually decent. Well, I thought it had decent traction. I think it does on the App Store. But kind of a cool concept, because I've been there a million times where I'm like, this is what I want to hit today. I've hit every workout that I know for this space. And now I'm lost, and therefore I'm going home because I feel uncomfortable and look like an idiot here just walking around looking at random machines. You know?
Does it have like a sample run we could do? Can we take this on a test drive? Oh, you have to pay for it immediately.
$3.99.
Dude, if this was based on a search mechanism, that would be fucking brilliant. Because I think my biggest thing with the gym is I like dumbbells more than anything else. And I'm like, dude, I don't really know like how to supply 6 back workouts with dumbbells today. So if I was like, hey, need some dumbbell exercises for my back, I already did these 3. What am I missing? You'd be like, hey, it looks like you hit these muscle groups. You're lacking these muscle groups. Use these 2 real quick, and you're going to be able to finish on a high.
Imagine this. We're always looking at these young companies and being like, how cool would it be if they just completely change their entire... But imagine this. I think the biggest problem is a lot of workouts and stuff you find online doesn't fit with your gym because they don't know what kind of equipment you have for you. Like you said, you love working out with dumbbells. A lot of people don't have free open weights, especially if they're in like apartments or hotels or something. Imagine if you could go into a space, you could choose a part of your body you want to hit. So let's say like it's leg day. I walk into a gym, I do a 360 videotape. It knows every single machine in there, and it gives me a workout based on what's in my space. Like, should we pitch them? Because I think
just do like my apartment complex. It's like if you pick up your piano, that could replicate a...
No, I'm talking about it's got to be a gym, but that'd be interesting.
Dude, I mean, that'd be sick. Obviously, that'd be unbelievable. I'm sure with VR, AR, we could get there.
I feel like that wouldn't be all that hard.
We know nothing.
Dude, I think there's legs there. Imagine the people who are traveling all the time. Traveling businessmen, pilots, different hotel every day.
Dude, that is like
inconsistency.
A complete detrimental factor, though, when you look at a workout and it's just offering these like big, heavy equipment stuff. You're like, bro, my gym doesn't have a full ropes course.
And you just skip it. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, I'm not doing that. No way, Jose. I'm not looking up an alternative. That one's gone.
There's no way to do cleans here. Are you kidding me?
Well, Brendan, this could help in your journey to 165. Tell the people. Tell them about your journey.
I was at 148 2 weeks ago. I went on a boat and I felt like a fragile chicken. And then I saw Jason with his shirt off when we were playing Bakes, and I was like, that's not allowed. I can't have Jason looking better than me.
Said that's the ideal male body right there.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth and put it on a plate, man, and served it to me. Completely agree with that tonality there. So now we're tracking up. It used to be 148. I'm like 6'3". Me and Jason discovered.
It's like 5'11 3/4, ladies and gentlemen.
I think 5'10". So yeah, we're on the journey to 165. We're at 155. But dude, what I need is a fucking app that just reminds me to eat food. Like, hey, you're trying to gain weight, you got to eat something. It's been 12 hours since you last ate, man.
Do you have a problem having meals prepped, or is your problem completely on just like reminding you it's time to eat those meals?
It's just on remind me to eat the meals, man. So I just need a timer, you know. And somebody can build that. I could probably build that myself. That doesn't need AI.
That's literally just a timer every day at noon, and then at 6 p.m. You could do that on your Apple phone.
Perfect.
But, for those out there, I don't think that's your only problem. I've looked in your fridge. You have ketchup and like nothing else. There's no food. So it's not the problem of like reminding you to eat. There's just not any food to eat.
All right, we're going to sign off this podcast on a note. I don't like ketchup. I don't use ketchup. There's barbecue sauce, there's enchilada sauce, and there's
he knows
Caesar
exactly
dressing.
Every single thing that is in his fridge because there's like 3 things.
Next episode of the SaaSySesh, we're doing MTV Cribs, and you're about to see a whole new fridge, man.
Dude,
put $100 at Trader Joe's yesterday, and it's hard to put $100 down at Trader Joe's.
That is hard. That's impressive work. Quick little shout out to Trader Joe's at the end here. Great prices.
Did you use AI this week?
Yeah, I used AI to try and create this lovely story I have here of this
heartbreak,
young boys, and then heartbreak.
And I used it to fake an identity that I'm running podcast descriptions for us. So if you made it to 42, I've outed myself. The content is OpenAI sponsored, the Sassy Boys podcast every single week.
I have done that as well, but let's ride.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you met your soulmate through the app. You found a podcast tool that searches for you. We can build out your gym memberships. And at the same time, you don't have to remember anything anymore. So we are just becoming the lowest common denominator of a life form these days.
Hell yeah, we are. And that's the SaaSySesh, ladies and gents.
Cheers, amigo.